I did mention that I wanted to mention one additional story, and this one is about a girl who was also a cast member, and this was like literally when I first started at Sephora. This girl I'll never forget. Like, she just looked like, you know how there's people that just look like if attitude appeared in human form, it was her. Mind you, we're cool now, but when I met her, so I remember, I just said, you know, I greet everyone when I walk in. So I would see her, especially because she was at the register with me. I started at Sephora at the register, and she was at the register. So more than anything, I'm going to say hello to the people at the register, because you're the people that I have to stand next to throughout the entire day. So I would greet her, and she would like either not answer me, or she would roll her eyes, or just do one of those, hello, one of those things. And I just always was, I'm like, okay, well, it's not like we're, you know, I'm not looking for anything. I'm just saying hello, but all right, whatever. So I would always do this. And there was a day where she finally just said, look, I'm not really that friendly type person. You know, I don't want to say hello. I don't say hello to people. I don't, you know, it's not for me. Oh, I thought my mic wasn't plugged in for a second. Oh my gosh. So, I was like, okay, well, you know, I'm not looking for you to converse with me, but you know, whatever. However, I noticed that she was friendly with everyone else. And I was thinking at first, I thought, well, she's probably just like that to the new people, but she was so kind to the other new people. It was specifically me that she was rude to. At least that's what I saw. I didn't realize the other people that she was rude to as well, but that's because I didn't know anyone. All I knew was myself and the two people that I got hired with. So I decided, you know, well, she's being nice to everyone else. I'm gonna be extra nice to her, let her know that I'm a good person too. So I would see her and I would like compliment her hair, I would compliment her makeup, I would compliment this, compliment that. I'll be honest, the things that I was complimenting, I did not care for. The things that I was saying looked nice did not look nice. It's bad, it's terrible to admit, but it's the truth. But I was just trying to just show her that I'm a good person, which is ironic to say, being that I was lying about my compliments, but you get where I'm going. So she ended up getting meaner and ruder to me. So I said, well, we have to stand next to each other at the register. I don't like this awkward energy. You know, we have to work together. Let me just approach her and just figure out what's wrong. What did I do? Is there anything I can do to change your feelings, to fix this? So I approached her and I said, hey, you know, I just wanted to check and see if you have anything against me. You know, I was trying to say to her that, you know, I gave you, you know, the compliments because, you know, I wanted you to know that, you know, I'm a good guy. Like, I noticed your efforts in makeup and this and that. But before I could even finish the sentence or even get that far, she jumped down my throat saying, look, we're not friends. I don't do the friends, you know, just because you gave me a compliment doesn't mean that I gotta talk to you and this and that. You know, we're not buddies and this and that. You don't gotta say hi to me. You know, she just went off. And I looked at her and I said, well, I'm not trying to be your friend, but we work together. You're right about that. So the least we can do, or the least you can do, is just be kind and cordial. I'm not asking you to have a conversation with me, but if I got to stand next to you at a register, I don't want to feel as if I'm, you know, a burden to stand next to, you know. But then after that, we just pretty much never conversed until this particular day. So what happened is this. Because of that situation, I just stopped speaking to her. Like, I would never acknowledge her. I would walk in and I would say my good mornings or good afternoons, whatever. I would say my greetings to every single person individually and not say to her. And I realized that she started waiting for me to greet her, and I would never greet her. And it even got to a point where if like often it would be me and her at the register first thing in the morning. And normally what they do is, like, registers are counted from 1 to 8, and they put people at registers accordingly as they enter. The store knew that she and I weren't getting along, and so the cash wrap auditor, he would place her at one end of the register and put me at the other end of the counter. because we just couldn't deal. However, there was this one day where, you know, I think we had a new auditor and she didn't know the situation and she placed us side by side. And I was completing a return or something, and there was something I had to change in the system. Now, before I knew what I had to do, but before I could actually make the adjustment, this girl standing to my right is all up in my register and says, no, you have to do this, or you have to change that, X, Y, and Z, whatever. Yo, when I tell you I snapped on her, like I legit was like, I know what I'm doing. I don't know what the crap I said to her, but I remember I snapped on her, and I know I said it with like an energy, like a, you know, don't F with me type of attitude. And it was so bad that the customer that I was helping, even she looked at me, but she just looked at me and gave me a smirk and gave me that approving, you know, that look of approval. Like, you know, you let her have it, you tell her, like, she must have pissed you off. So, you know, in that instant, I just saw her walk away, and I thought nothing of it. I was like, good, you know, give me my breath, my time to breathe. And so, I'm getting tired. When I finished with the customer, the manager of the hour comes over to me and she says, hey, Solomon, are you okay? Are you feeling all right? And I was like, yeah, why? What's up? What's going on? And she's like, well, you seem a bit angry today. The other cast member, obviously I'm not going to say her name, the other cast member says that you snapped at her and yelled at her when she was simply trying to help you, and that she feels heavily disrespected. And I looked at the manager and I said, are you serious? This girl does not speak to me. She never speaks to me. She told me to not greet her. Okay? And that's exactly what I did. She treated me like scum. And I finally stopped speaking to her. And all of a sudden, like there actually was a time where I asked her for help when I had like really just started, and she wouldn't help me. And so now all of a sudden she wants to help me. Now she wants to be all up in my space when I'm doing my work. And I told the manager, like, I knew what I needed to do, but she jumped in before I could actually fix it, you know. But that was her fault for being up in my space instead of helping the next customer, you know. So the manager sees me getting loud and getting passionate and pulls me to the back to complete the conversation. And I told her, look, I have never done anything wrong since I've been here. My name is always on the comments list. Like, people are always saying how great a help I was. And this girl treats me like I did something wrong, like I slapped her father or something. And the one time that I actually give her back the same attitude she gives me all the time, I'm the one getting in trouble. Like, she talks to at this point I had learned that she treats other people like this as well. And I'm like, she treats everyone else like this. And people seem to have just gotten to a place where they say, oh, that's just the way this girl is. I just won't deal with her. And I'm like, I did that too. But the difference is I'm standing next to her at the register, so I have no choice but to deal with her. I'm doing my best to just not speak to her like she told me to, and she wants to jump in my space. Absolutely not. I snapped at her and I'm not sorry about it. What are you gonna do? She looked at me, the manager, and said, well, I've never seen you act like this. I have heard people talk about her behavior, so I know you're not lying. Why don't you go take a 10? And we'll get through the rest of the day and we will figure out a compromise. I hope everything is okay with this part of the video. I literally just ran out of battery and replaced the battery, and although I think I did just happen to get to the end of the last story. So the point is, the reason I wanted to mention that last story, even though it wasn't about a manager, is because I guess ultimately the cons of working at Sephora would be the the managers, and it's not all managers at Sephora's that are bad, but a multitude of them, for whatever reason, you know, they progress into manager positions for the money. But it's kind of like being a teacher. You know, you should love children and have a desire to change the world if you're going to be a teacher. You know, if you don't like children, or if you don't have patience for children, if you don't have patience in general, you shouldn't be teaching. And it's kind of the same thing, you know, as, you know, for management, you know, in a retail space. All aspects of retail require customer service skills. If you're not a people person, you shouldn't be working in retail, whether you're working as a cast member or as a manager. You know, plain and simple. But even though I do put the cons of working at Sephora on the managers, you know, I think it's safe to take it further and say, you know, it's people in general. You don't know, and for the sake of, you know, just so you know, me and this girl ended up becoming cool. I think because she saw that me and her friend, her best friend in the store, ended up becoming type cool, and we both had the connection of music, and so she saw that, and then a bunch of other people that she really wanted to be cool with, or the people that she was cool with, were really cool with me. And I guess eventually she just kind of realized. I actually remember the moment where she finally said, I didn't like Solomon before, but I like him now. I was making some kind of jokes about some manager that I really didn't like. It was so terrible. But that's what brought us together, our dislike of a certain manager, sadly. What I'm trying to get to is that people are people. They're either going to be good or they're going to be bad. It's terrible that we can get to a place where we really like where we are, but the people that are in, you know, our space at the moment make us so uncomfortable that we have to just leave. But it happens. Because of the videos that I saw of other employees who quit because of bad managers, I felt that it was important to, you know, to put my story out there and to let people know that my reason for quitting wasn't so much about the managers. The managers pushed me to go to overnight. But at the end of the day, you know, their presence still bled into the night at certain points. Ultimately, though, I'm gonna be real, I began to pray on it. I really started feeling uncomfortable, not uncomfortable working, but it just felt like it was time for me to go. But I was like, why? I'm working at night. I'm still making the money I was making before. I don't have to deal with people. Even if I do have to deal with them once in a while is better than every day, you know? So why do I need to leave? And I prayed on it, but I realized I didn't know why, but I knew that it was time for me to go. And so I just gave in my 2 weeks, and left. And it was the best thing that could have happened to me. Like, literally, I quit Sephora. I'll never forget, I quit Sephora June 6th of 2015. That was my last day. Let me actually add this. Let me tell you how much I loved Sephora. I quit Sephora. My last day technically was supposed to be June 4th, I believe. And yes, my last day should have been June 4th. What ended up happening is that there was a lot of work that needed to be done for a night shift on the 6th. And there were people that had already requested days off from the night shift for some other stuff they had to do. Because, you know, a lot of the night shift people, they had, you know, more than one job. And so I had put in my 2 weeks, so I was done. But the nighttime manager was so desperate for help, and she called me and she said, look, I know you quit, but I could really use the help. I understand if you say no. And I told her I really don't want to. You know, I left for a reason. And she said, okay, I hear you. I understand that. And I just left it at that. I think that night it would have only been her and 2 other people. And there was some special event happening. So there was a lot of work that needed to be done. And it was impossible, essentially, for 3 people to complete the task. A part of it had to do with that nighttime manager. I'm still in contact with her. She's such an amazing person. But because she needed the help, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have showed up. I came in on the 6th, even though I quit. I was officially done working with them. I showed up, I walked through the door. The woman nearly started crying. She looked so happy. She ran to me and threw her arms around me. The other manager, you know, who hated me so, you know, much, she just kind of had that look of her face like, oh wow, you actually showed up and came to save the day. You know, she tried to do that whole, you know, we really appreciate you, thank you so much for doing this, you know, because X, Y, and Z. And I just looked at her and said, and just went about my business, you know. But I helped out that night. We got everything done. I looked at the nighttime manager. She looked at me, she goes, okay, this is it. And I said, this is it. And I hugged her and I said my goodbyes to people. I almost feel like I want to tear up at this part. Like I feel like I'm at the end of a Lifetime movie. But I remember the 6th was it for me. And by the 10th, I was on a plane to LA trying to figure out if I wanted to live out there or not. Low-key, I do still want to live out there in LA. I loved it out there in LA, but that's not what this video is about. So yeah, so let's just, you know, go through everything again. The pros absolutely outweigh the cons of working for Sephora. There's so much to receive working for Sephora. The cons is ultimately people. Bad people. Bad people might be managers, and bad people might just simply be a coworker. It's, you know, the managerial part is the hard part, you know, because you have no choice but to deal with the managers in a very specific way. There's always going to be bad people anywhere you go. So what I'm trying to do is say, look, if you're interested in working for Sephora, apply. Be aware that you're gonna come across a certain type of people, and this isn't just Sephora, this is retail, this is just life in general. There are bad people everywhere. There are bad people, heck, there are bad people in church. Let's be real. There are bad people everywhere. If Sephora is a place that you think you'd like to grow in and, you know, develop an actual career in, then figure out how to maneuver your way around bad people, around bad managers and what have you. And if not, then there's no need to stress about the bad people and especially the bad managers, because you're not there to, you know, to grow. You're there as a means to an end, you know. So no matter how you look at it, there's no need to stress. There's no need to stress at all. And I just didn't want people to be discouraged from applying to Sephora because of all the other videos that I've looked at on YouTube. There are also some videos that people put up about how they got hired at Sephora. My story about how I got hired is actually very interesting, but I'll definitely get in a lot of trouble if I talk about it. But if I get enough comments, if you actually want to hear, I'll tell it, you know. I don't have that many subscribers, but if people come across this video and say, you know, tell me, I'll tell you. I hope these videos, because I'm sure I have to divide these videos up. I told you a lot of stories. But I hope these videos help you. I hope these videos encourage you, you know. Don't, especially the younger folk. Like, I mean, I'm 30, but still, you know, something I always say is that I want this channel to be one that is positive. I want to encourage people, especially artists, and even more so younger artists, to to be themselves, to understand who they are. Take the time to find yourself. Not that I want to push Christ on anyone, but find Christ within, accept Christ into your heart, explore yourself through Christ. It's a beautiful thing, believe me. And I'll even add, it's easier to maneuver yourself throughout the world when Christ is right here. I'm just saying. So with that being said, please, if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, hit that subscribe button. That could really, really use the help. Share this video if you think there's anyone that can be uplifted from it. If anyone you think can use some of the info, in respect to working at Sephora or anything, share the videos with them. If there are any questions, absolutely, I'd be glad to answer. Also, yeah, I think I got everything I wanted to say across. Just because I quit Sephora doesn't mean working for Sephora is a bad thing. Working for Sephora is a great thing. These people basically all these videos I just wanted to make just to simply say every one of us who did quit Sephora quit ultimately because of a bad manager, not because working for Sephora was bad. So working for Sephora is great. The pros, I can't say it enough, outweigh the cons heavily. The cons are people. People are always going to be people. The pros are skills, money, experience, things that you can actually take into your life. So take advantage. Yeah, and that's it. Thank you for watching. God bless.